Hi everyone and welcome to today's lesson. This week we will be focusing on 3D shapes and this is lesson 1 and it is Monday. So before we get started we will do our maths warm-up activities and again you can use a whiteboard and a marker or a piece of paper and a pencil. So here it says what's the answer and we have 12 plus 5. Now you may choose to work this out on a piece of paper or you can work this out in your head by using the counting on strategy. So what you can do is pause the video and then come back when you have the answer. Okay, so let's take a look. The first way that I'm going to show you is working it out in my head. Now, I'm going to put the bigger number in my head and I'm going to count on. So let's put 12 in our heads and count on 5. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So my answer is 17. But I could also work this out using pictures. So let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have my 12 stars there and I need to add another 5 on. So there's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. So 12 plus 5 equals 17. Let's take a look at this question. Now listen really carefully. If Max started with 9 water balloons but popped 7 in a water fight, how many does he have left? So we're starting with 9 and we're taking away 7 because they got popped in the water fight. So we're going to use our fingers for this one. So let's get 9 fingers. So here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I need to take 7 away. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And how many am I left with? I'm left with 2. Well done. Next question. Freya made 6 pink popsicles with Mum and her brother made 4 blue ones. How many altogether? So if Freya made 6 and her brother made 4, how many are there altogether? So again, you might like to work this out on a piece of paper by using your drawings, or you can work this out in your head by counting on. So go and do that and then come back and let's take a look. Okay, so I'm going to put 6 in my head and I'm going to count on 4. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 altogether. And we also know our friends of 10. And 6 and 4 is 10. Great work. Okay, so our learning intention is we are learning to identify and name 3D objects in the environment. And our success criteria is that I can name and identify 3D objects in the environment and describe their attributes. So let's take a look at what all of this means. But first, I'm going to show you a video of the difference between 2D shapes and 3D shapes. So let's take a look.
Oh, hey kids, it's Mr. B and Banjo Bob.
Hey kids!
And today we're going to learn about shapes. You know, there's so many different kinds of shapes. There's 2D shapes and there's 3D shapes.
Well, Mr. B, how do you tell the difference between a 2D shape and a 3D shape?
That's a great question, Bob. 2D means two-dimensional. Can you try saying that? Two-dimensional.
Two-dimensional.
Very good, Bob.
Thank you.
Two-dimensional means the shape goes two ways. Take a look at this square. It goes two ways. It goes side to side, and it goes up and down. One way, two ways. This shape is two-dimensional.
Wow.
Now a 3D shape goes three ways. It also goes side to side. It goes down and up. And it also goes from back to front. Back to front. Did you catch that, Bob?
Yeah.
A 3D shape goes side to side,
Oh.
up and down,
Oh.
and back to front.
Wow.
Another way to test if a shape is 2D or 3D is to see if it's flat. Because if it's flat, it's a 2D shape. Let's try the circle first. Turn it over. Take a good look. That looks pretty flat to me. A circle must be a 2D shape. Now let's try the sphere. Rotate it over. This sphere is still pretty puffy and full. It must be a 3D shape. We can further experiment with the flatness of a shape by doing the clapping test. Are you ready for that, Bob?
You bet.
Remember, if the shape is flat, it's a 2D shape, and you should still be able to clap. Now let's try the 3D shape. Oh no, the 3D shape is too puffy. It sticks out too much. I can't clap. Sorry, Bob. The music's over.
Oh.
If you're still not sure if a shape is 2D or 3D, there is one more way to test. But leave this one to me, because it's kind of dangerous, all right? It's called the sit test. Here's what's going to happen. Bob's going to put a shape behind me, and I'm going to sit down. If it's a 3D shape, I should be able to sit, because 3D shapes are full and they stick out. But if it's a 2D shape, I might be in some trouble. Are you ready, Bob? Give me the first shape.
Okay, Mr. B. Here comes a sphere.
Oh, wow. A sphere must be a 3D shape. It sticks out three ways and keeps me off the ground. Thanks, Bob.
Good job, Mr. B. How about another one?
Yep, Bob, I'm ready. Give me the next shape.
Okay, Mr. B. How about a rectangular prism?
Whoa, rectangular prism must be a 3D shape because it kept me off the ground, Bob.
That's crazy.
It goes side to side, front to back, and up and down to keep me from falling.
Pretty cool, guys. Okay, Mr. B. Time for the last shape.
I'm ready when you are, Bob. Give me the last shape.
Okay, kids. Let's try a triangle. Oh no! That definitely wasn't a 3D shape, Mr. B.
You're right, Bob. This was definitely a 2D shape. It only goes two ways. This way and this way, but it didn't come up, so I couldn't sit on it and I fell to the ground. It's so flat, I went down fast, Bob. I think I'm done with shapes for today.
Well, how about I play your favorite song and make you feel better?
That'd be great, Bob. Thanks.
Okay.
I do feel better. And I did have fun today, and I hope you did too. Now it's your turn to find some shapes and learn something. All right, boys and girls, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, boys and girls, I hope that you liked that video as much as I did. So a 2D shape simply means that the shape is flat. And if you remember in the video, it goes two ways. And a 3D shape is a solid shape, and it has 3 dimensions, which means it just goes 3 ways. It's got length, width, and depth. So boys and girls, here I have a 3D shaped poem, and this really helps me to remember as well. So if you would like to read along with me, you can. 3D shapes are fat, not flat. A cone is like a party hat. A sphere is like a bouncing ball. A prism is like a building tall. A cylinder is like a can of pop. A cube is like the dice you drop. 3D shapes are here and there. 3D shapes are everywhere. So what we're going to quickly do now is look at some Australian landmarks. And I want you to think, do you know these landmarks? And how would you describe them? So let's take a look at the first one. Here we have Uluru. And we could describe this as curved because you can see at the top that it curves. Here we have the Three Sisters, and they're in the Blue Mountains. And we can see that they are curved and pointy because you can see at the top that they have a point to them. Here we have the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and we can see that it is curved. It is curved at the top. And then we have the Sydney Opera House, and we can see that it is curved and pointy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is look at some 3D objects that are around you, that 3D objects that you can find in your home. So the first thing that I found was a tissue box, and this is like a rectangular prism. You can see that it's got rectangles on the sides and also squares. Here I have a toilet roll, and you can see that it looks just like a cylinder. And we've got our 2 circles, we've got one on the top and one on the bottom, and it is curved and it goes around. Here I have a Rubik's Cube, and it is just like a cube. So all of the sides are square and they are equal. And we also know that a dice looks like this as well. Here I have an ice cream cone, which looks just like a cone. And we could describe this one as being pointy and round. Here I have a mandarin and a basketball. And these 2 objects look like a sphere. And we could describe these as being round. So what you're going to do now is go on a 3D shape hunt. Now you can either cut out magazine pictures or draw real life objects to match each shape. And then you can label the shapes and the objects. So if you look carefully on a piece of paper, you could just draw them. And we have a sphere, we have a cube, we have a cone, a cylinder, and a rectangular prism. So think about the objects that I showed you. You could find a bouncing ball for the sphere. For the cube, you could have a box, a dice, a Rubik's Cube. For a cone, you could also find an ice cream cone that looks like that, or a cone that we see that workers use outside. For the cylinder, that could be a toilet roll or a paper roll. And for our rectangular prism, you could find a book, you could find a tissue box. So what you need to do is you can either, like I said, cut out the pictures, or you can just draw these objects. And we can't wait to see what you have found in your home. So now let's just go over our learning intention and success criteria. Now our learning intention was that we were learning to identify and name 3D objects in the environment. And then our success criteria was that I can name and identify 3D objects in the environment and describe their attributes. Now I'm going to give ourselves a big tick here because we looked around our house, we went on a 3D shape hunt, and that means that we found and identified 3D objects in our environment. So that's where you live. And then you also described the attributes. So that means the way that we describe them. What did they look like? We could see that some were round, some were pointy. Now our cube and our rectangular prism, so our box and tissue box, they had really straight edges, and also their faces, which were those shapes like the rectangles and the squares, they were flat, weren't they? So we can't wait to see what you found at your home. I'll see you next time.